Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan Byrd, founder of Acquisition Conference, coming to Salt Lake City on March 21st. And I'm joined here with Chris Bright. He's the founder of Successr, one of our trusted partners and sponsors at the upcoming event. We're excited to dive a little deeper into your personal story, as well as the professional story on how you're helping businesses and M&A professionals. And, we're looking forward to speaking more about that technology that you're building. So thanks a lot for joining us today on the Acquisition IQ podcast.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
So share with me why entrepreneurship and how did you get in the area that you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. Going way back. So as a kid, I always had a great example of entrepreneurship in the family. My dad started a company and was the vice president of technology at National Land Exchange here in Utah. Ran this great company, and I got to see it firsthand. What entrepreneurship is like, how to run a business and grow something. So he was grew up in the .com era, where networking equipment was in high demand, and so he bought used networking equipment and sold it out. Great business. And ultimately got to see the business from the inside as a young kid. So super excited about about small business and how to kind of make generational wealth for a family. So
Can you remember as a young kid when you figured out what value exchange is, and with one item, and then it was sold or exchanged for value? Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. Constantly seeing equipment come in, seeing the value that it added to another organization, and seeing product move and exchange hands was really exciting for us as kids. We'd see the shelves all stocked in their warehouse and stuff going in and out constantly. So the flow of commerce was something that really kind of impressed on us at an early age. So.
Well, yeah, because that's really what entrepreneurship is, right? You're solving a problem, and you're in essence putting a price tag on it, and someone is wanting that, and again, I'm gonna be diving into Successor as well and why people would like that. But let's start a little bit about the education that you may have here, and then also some of the ways again that it has pushed you towards the development of this platform that we'll talk a little bit later about.
Sure, absolutely. So as an undergrad, I went into information systems. I always wanted to be at the place where business and technology meet. That was always a fascinating area for me. So naturally, I moved into tech consulting after graduation. And got to work with VPs of IT and CTOs of large Fortune 500 companies, building next-gen technology for them. So being right there at the merger of where important technology and business need meet was always very prominent for me. And eventually growing up in that environment, you start to gain opinions about, well, what are the right ways to do business? What technologies meet with what problems? And after gaining that sort of opinion, wanted to then apply that to interesting problems that I liked. So I eventually kind of moved that into more of an MBA so that I could start a business at the same time as I was living for free for a while, which was a fun time. So started a business, 6 months later sold it off while I was in my MBA program, because little known secret, in the MBA program, it's not exactly easy to flunk out. So I used it as an awesome time to be able to start a few companies. So started a company, sold it off. Joined a company, a young startup here in Utah that was doing blockchain telehealth platform. So that was really interesting to me, seeing how the applications of blockchain and how it can be used in industry, which is something that hasn't exactly caught on yet, but will eventually catch on. It's a great utility asset. So. And then moving there on into another company where I was using computer vision to solve problems in the gym space, which was really interesting. Eventually, that company, we ran it for about 4 years, and it went into its own M&A scenario. And that's what kind of spurred me on to then building something for the M&A space.
What were some of the problems that you had seen during that transaction or the potential transaction of the fitness technology?
So we had come up with a really innovative technology to be able to track the human body during complex motion and be able to tell people for your body type how to move or how to not injure yourself at the same time as get the peak value out of any workout that you're doing. So eventually, we got into chats with a large company, large publicly traded company that everybody's familiar with, but I can't really divulge who it is. And during that process, we shared information about the business. We took it as kind of an open forum where we could talk freely. Eventually, though, IP was divulged, and the company then decided to build on that IP, even though we had patents that were in process to
Safeguard yourself.
exactly. So in that process, the chats broke down a little bit, and we saw that it wasn't as free of a flow of information. And that was one of the things that we saw time and time again. Afterward, we ended up chatting with some brokers to try and help the space, and we found that the free flow of information doesn't really happen in the M&A space, right? Your information is your power, and you hold it close to your chest, and only divulge it once you know that you're under contract to be able to get value out of that in one way or another. So we saw that information asynchronicity that can stifle the transaction for a company, and we wanted to really solve that problem.
Oh, I mean, I can sense that, and I've seen that many times with many of the guests that we've had here on the podcast. They talk about the specific, some of the individuals that have been on the podcast have been more of the service provider, and there has been siloed conversations that they have had because they said that, well, I've got my lane that I've got to run in, and there are so many other people that are doing other things. It's difficult for us to have all those conversations. Sounds like that's something you had experience, and also you're wanting to solve that.
Right.
Is that what Successor does, or in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, the overall idea of the platform is to create a space where there is the ability for information to flow freely between all parties in the transaction. So from the initial assessing of the deal to to being able to lock it down to this is my deal or that's your deal, and as well being able to loop in service providers like lawyers and valuation experts and things like that, being able to bring those into kind of a smart deal room. Those are things that we're focused on in being able to allow for more businesses to transact, because we see that the market right now, there's about 58% of businesses that never actually list, and of the businesses that do list, 1 in 5 actually transact. So you have a small amount of businesses that are transacting where, I'm sure there are plenty of other businesses that could transact if we break down some of those barriers.
Yeah. So it's a 20% transaction rate.
Yep.
That's pretty low. Do you think it should be higher?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there are so many great businesses. One of the other reasons why we started this business is I have an uncle that's in Vegas, and he built up this amazing business. He was doing HVAC for some of the large casinos that were up and down the strip. So he got great contracts,
Yes.
B2B contracts that were worth a lot of money. And he went and turned to his kids when he wanted to retire and said, hey, who wants to take over the family business? And unfortunately, even though none of them did, he then turned to the open market to try and say, well, somebody must want this business, right? It's cash flowing quite a bit. Maybe I can get something out of this. Unfortunately, he passed away in the process of trying to sell that business off. And, if great businesses like that can go, and fall apart in the deal, then what hope do the rest of us have? So
True.
we want to break down those barriers, make it more accessible for more people to be able to transact their businesses across. There's plenty of people that want to buy these businesses, and there's plenty of people that would love to sell their business, and we see that discrepancy of why aren't more getting.
Yeah, it's almost like on one end there's the organization and the streamlining of the processes and the systems, or the development of the systems on one side, and then the other as well needing to understand and be able to leverage the systems that have been created but also will be in the future.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of complexities there that people they're missing.
Yep.
They're missing out.
Yep, exactly. And the focus of Successor is to build the systems to be able to allow for more transactions to happen. We're tired of seeing too many fall through the cracks for one reason or another.
Okay.
And if we can build the bridge across the canyon, more people can cross. So we're highly focused on helping more individuals get across that chasm.
Yeah, with the leverage of technology, and it sounds like it fits you perfectly. Like you said, you want to be at the intersection of both technology and the innovation of business, and here we are today.
That's exactly it. And with the boom of the silver tsunami, right, you have all of these baby boomers now wanting to transition their business to another owner. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to widen that path, build the bridge over the chasm, and allow more people to be able to cross that and create that generational wealth for their family so that they can secure that.
One thing I like, though, the approach that you've taken is one from a personal experience, with your fitness company and having some things go not so right, probably in your perspective, but also probably seeing, was it your relative in essence, go through that. And then also all the other business owners that you're probably talking with on a daily basis. I mean, 1 out of 5, that's 20%. And that means there's an 80% likelihood of no success within the life cycle of your business.
Well, and I was just chatting with somebody today. They were running a quilting business in the Northeast, and they said, I inherited this from, it was a great conference that their mother had built up, and wanted to, and they inherited it, and they saw, well, maybe there's a good opportunity to exit. But there was just so much going on, and the process was so arduous that they said, well, let's go ahead and shutter the business rather than sell it. And I was flabbergasted. I was saying to myself, why didn't you capture that value? That's great value. Right? And that's what we see for all the individuals that we have planned to use the platform, is that there's so much value that they can capture.
Yeah.
So
at the Acquisition Conference, you're going to be speaking about the rise of technology, artificial intelligence, as well as blockchain technology, and how that's being implemented and necessary in the M&A market. Are there some insights that you can share with us today about the rise of blockchain, the popularity of AI, as well as large language models, and how that's able to decipher for us business owners or us investors wanting to buy companies?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the application of those technologies in M&A, there's a wide berth of ways that those can help the M&A process. So artificial intelligence and large language models are basically a way to guess the next step in a pattern. They're a pattern recognition program, you can say. And what we have in business acquisition is essentially a pattern of financials and data of a business over a period of time. So if we're to use that as a projection engine to be able to say, this is what we think the business can do in the future and what it should look like, or be able to say, what's the likelihood of that business to continue on and do good things, that's one way that AI is able to be implemented. Blockchain is another thing that we're super interested in. Originally, our company thought, well, what's the first kind of application? What makes people in the SMB M&A space kind of bite first, right? And so originally the thought was, okay, well, if we take the shares of a business and represent those as token, right, or as a non-fungible token, an NFT. And then you can say all the shares of a company, well, if we're 50-50 owners, I have 50% of them, you have 50% of them. And then by trading those, I'm now trading away shares of my company. You can do a secondaries type of approach with a business and say, I want to divest all my shares or half of my shares, which would be 25% of the business, right, in our hypothetical situation. I can divest that to a third party or to an investor. And then based on that, now we have a triple ownership in the company. And if we declare a dividend, then we can then send that dividend to the right owners. And that's all built into the blockchain model. So those are a couple of different ways that those technologies can apply directly into M&A right now. And we're right now focused on building a tool that will assess a business's financials from the beginning to be able to give you a good view at, is your business ready to sell? And if it is, what other businesses, what does it look like as compared to other businesses on the platform? So the data play there is something that we're able to then capture and say, there's value here, and this business looks a lot like these other businesses. So here's kind of a good idea of what that will look like when you sell it.
In essence, giving it a score of the health of the business, in essence, and then the likelihood of the business being sold at high or low value based on the data sets.
Exactly. So we want to be able to give you a view of a potential future before you ever list your business. Because as we say in our company, you never get a second chance at a first opinion on a business. And so when it comes to listing a business, you want to know what that looks like before you list it.
Yeah.
And before you get anybody in the deal room. Unfortunately, a lot of times these days, the first time a business gets an idea of if there are any problems, that a buyer might find, is once you get the first buyer in there, and if they're a serious buyer that could have bought that business, unfortunately, that's one opportunity wasted, and we want to make every opportunity count.
Well, and as an investor, we're always looking at ways that our money will be placed into highly probable, successful situations. You know what I mean? Man, this has been good. This is really good. I think we could dive deeper.
Well, I was going to say, one of the other things that we've chatted with a lot of different brokers, and this is a tool that also brokers are interested in understanding about their own business. So a broker will typically work with 12 or 15 other businesses, and being able to tell them what's the likelihood of these businesses being able to sell, where should I put my time, is something that's valuable, right? Time is our most precious asset, and if I can put those into high likelihood sales businesses, then more of these can get across the line.
Yeah, it's like an 80-20 rule.
Exactly.
You know, if you could decipher that way faster, we're in a lot better situation. That's for sure.
Well, and especially for brokers. I mean, for business brokers, their average commission on a business is somewhere it can be about 10% for the smaller businesses. They use typically a double Lehman's calculation when they sell a business, so it can represent 100 to 200 grand for them. And if we can get one more of those across the line for a broker, that is a meaningful thing for their bottom line. If we can get one of those businesses to sell for a seller, right, that is a meaningful thing for them. So everybody wins in this scenario where more businesses cross the line, even the buyer side, right? When you chat with buyers, it's all about being able to acquire a business that I can build and grow.
Yes.
And if those good businesses are pushed to the forefront, more businesses get acquired. Buyers are able to get into a great business that they can build, grow, and exit from eventually. So,
with your platform, is it a platform where people will place their listing on the dual-sided marketplace? Is there a dual-sided marketplace?
So eventually,
what does it look like?
We imagine that there's definitely a market for pre-vetted businesses.
Yes.
And we've heard time and time again. Unfortunately, some of these businesses they list on one of the other, list anything sites, as we say.
Biz buy sell.
Yeah, some of those. And unfortunately, the words that I've heard are sifted through trash a lot, right?
Okay.
There's a lot of businesses. If you can list anything on there, right, I can build up any type of business, toss it on there, and see what sells. But if we are able to curtail that down to these are the best businesses that we think you should buy, that builds a system where everything that you're looking at are diamonds, right? And
Yeah, based on empirical data.
exactly.
Because you have large language models and also you're leveraging AI.
Exactly,
So
and
you
being
can't,
able to
and
look
blockchain.
at and past businesses as well, right? So you've got a history of businesses that have sold, and then being able to then see the pattern of those, what made those things sell, and if this business looks like those businesses, then we can be a lot more assured that that we have a winner on our hands. That this is a great business that should sell.
So what would you consider the main problem? I've heard and I've listened now this entire time, and I think I have a good understanding, but in your words, what would be your biggest problem that you guys really are solving within the M&A space?
It comes down to the free flow of information. We're really solving the problem of being able to get the right information into the hands of the right people and breaking down barriers, allowing for more trust. Trust is really the backbone of the entire M&A process. And you first have to have trust in a broker or whoever's helping you to sell. So trust in a valuation expert, trust in a lawyer to be able to look over the docs right, trust in the buyer that they're not going to misuse the information, trust in the system that is transferring money back and forth. So trust is really kind of the basis of everything. And being able to create that space where information can flow a lot more freely and all be self-contained on one platform is really the big benefit from Successr.
I'm extremely excited to take a look at the inside of the platform, and then also some of the businesses, as well as share this with our crowd at the upcoming acquisition conference, where, again, you'll be one of our panel moderators for the artificial intelligence as well as the technology panel, and how we're starting to implement and the advancements of the technology. Are there any other technologies that you're seeing that there have been in advancements in within the M&A space that maybe you're not doing, but yet you've seen other people utilize?
So there has been good advancements in virtual deal rooms and being able to open that up a little bit more, have more access to the docs and the data. There are some advancements going on in the availability of access to other individuals, people that have information.
Yep.
So there's a number of different platforms that are looking to try and expand that space. Some in the upper echelons, in the larger iBanking style businesses.
Yes.
So, and then the other thing is access to capital. So there's a lot of innovation in trying to get access to capital for searchers, people that are serious about buying and building up a business. So those are kind of the areas that we're seeing expand, and we're looking to partner with individuals that are like that to be able to make the process better for everybody.
I've got a partnership potentially for you as well, that we'll talk off camera here, but also what it's doing is it's in essence, it's helping with the sentiment of the integration process by identifying the cultural values as well as like a ranking of the cultural ratings from one company to the next. So then there can be, in essence, a match between either the efficiencies of the cultures for the integration post-exit, and it's very, or post-merger, and it's very detailed in nature.
Awesome.
And, I was like, oh, goodness, there's many different ways that people are building and adding value in the space, just like yourself. And it's exciting for me to, of course, I sit back. Obviously, we've got the conference, which is a little bit of a different angle, but we're just bringing together all the right people, all the right resources. And and it's going to be a wonderful experience. So, are you excited about that?
I'm super excited about the conference. I'm looking to meet other individuals that have different experiences and access to other different types of deals
Yep.
and technology, and be able to integrate with them. The ultimate goal of all of this is help more people to sell their businesses, and the better we can do that, the better everybody profits.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to end this podcast with, where is the future in M&A going in 5 years from now, from a technological standpoint?
I see that the future of M&A has to do more with efficiencies. See, in the current M&A process, we have a lot of things that are done manually. A lot of people live out of their Outlook and Excel spreadsheets. A lot of things are, you're working on plugging things in and trying to do things manually. Automation is really the future of it. Being able to build tools that allow you to, upload a spreadsheet and boom, here's all your projections and calculations. Taking Excel and systematizing, some people's Excel models into a process where it's repeatable for other different people in the industry. AI definitely is going to lead the charge in that, being able to replace some of the manual labor and just change the job by adding efficiencies. I kind of liken it to what an excavator did for the construction industry, right? You're never replacing people. You're just changing the way that they do their job, and it makes them thousands of times more efficient. So that's the way I see it.
Well, I'm already getting excited about it because we've seen advancements in technology. It's funny, the tech space, of course, is advancing quickly with AI because they understand the technology. But now every other industry is wanting to try to catch up to what the tech industry understands and knows. That's why we have so much disruption across every single vertical. With the invention and with the implementation of blockchain technology, right, with smart contracts and all the other things that we've talked about today on this podcast. I am thrilled for the future of mergers and acquisitions and the efficiency at which it's going to, I believe, operate, really.
Definitely.
Because you'll have one company and another, but this one company on this other side is going to be so organized based on all of these prompts and the education that they're going to have, because maybe from one company to the next, all of their systems are going to be efficient, because of all of our technological implementation. But
and back to talking about blockchain, I went on the government's website, like the Utah government's website, the other day, just looking at our business registration and some other stuff. And they had a spot where you could register a business from a DAO, which was really interesting. So you have this decentralized autonomous organization, blockchain-based organization, and you can make that, that it was like, register this as a blockchain entity, which is really interesting. So I'm loving the advancements that we're making in the space to be able to control a business as a DAO. It gets me excited.
Well, we just want to say thank you so much, Chris, for joining us here on the Acquisition IQ Network podcast. And we're excited to once again have you at the Acquisition Conference coming up. If you guys haven't yet purchased your tickets, make sure to do so at acquicon.live, and you'll meet more people just like Chris in the room. We'll see you guys there.